Welcome back to another video, everyone. In this episode, Professor John Mearsheimer sheds some light on the situation in Israel and Palestine. I want you to watch very carefully, as the first half of the video, this agnostic reporter almost challenges Professor John on why the Palestinians don't just leave the land and why Muslim countries don't take in 2 million plus Palestinians. Looking at Professor John's reactions, he looks almost shocked and puzzled that she thinks what she is saying is acceptable. Let's take a look.
An open air prison, to be honest. And then the second thing that I noticed or I thought about was, okay, so the whole Arabic, Muslim, Islamic world is sort of behind the Palestinians, behind Gaza, and supports them. Why are they not helping them? Why are they not taking in the Palestinian refugees? I don't understand it. I don't understand why they can't send humanitarian aid, and I'm sure they have in limited capacity, but why don't they take in the 2 million refugees into their own country?
She failed to state it's not just the Arab and Muslim countries that support Palestinians. Did she not see the global protests that were happening specifically in Europe, UK and US? Protests that are happening every week, that are still happening to this very day. She then mentions, why is the aid being sent in limited capacity? She may just be a little ignorant on the situation, so this video isn't about having a go at her. However, Oxfam International just 6 days ago have reported that only 34 trucks have been allowed into Gaza in the last 2.5 months. This is a deliberate delay by the Israeli authorities.
Because they're Palestinians and that's their land. They don't want to leave. As a German, you don't want to leave Germany and move into Poland.
Yeah, but I mean,
or move into Czech.
No, well, but that's de facto what happened after the World War. You know, like the frontiers, I don't know, countries get new, how do you say, Grenzen?
Borders.
Borders, thank you. Countries have new borders, and then people get displaced. And I'm not saying this is a nice thing that happens, right? That's not what I'm saying. But how...
But you're saying it's acceptable.
No, I'm not saying it's acceptable. I'm just saying that the Palestinians are still considered refugees after being there for 70 years. Why are they still considered refugees? It's not like in Germany or after all the displacement happened after the Second World War.
Because this is their land. In fact, they want their land back. That's what Hamas is all about. If you go back to 1900, there are hardly any Jews in what is today
I understand
Greater
that.
Israel.
Okay, so, and this is why I'm probably so agnostic.
And the Zionists came in and they took the land.
But that's not exactly what happened, is it? I mean, there was like a declaration, there was something going on with the Brits, right? That gave the Israelis the land, or the Jews.
You think the British had the right to give the Palestinians
No, that's not what I'm
land?
saying. And this is why I'm so agnostic on this issue, because I am not very sure about certain historical facts. And I'm just like, this whole mess down there just seems to me like this black box of, I don't know, of unfortunate historic events.
This is exactly why we make such videos. A lot of the news that's published, unfortunately, are by people who don't really understand what's going on. Not only that, but a lot of the people we listen to have their own personal biased agendas that they are pushing onto us. This is why we need people like Professor John Mearsheimer to shed some light on the situation.
Because I don't want the Jews all of a sudden to not have a country either. Is that understandable?
I fully understand why the Israelis want their own country, right? But you want to understand that this land, not too long ago, belonged to the Palestinians.
But these things happen all the time in history, John.
You can't make that... Of
but
course
they do. People get displaced, and I'm not saying it's fair, but don't. At some point, you kind of, just like with Ukraine, at some point they're going to have to accept what is. And it's the same in Israel. I'm sorry. I don't think it's that different.
They're not going to accept it. That's quite clear.
Then you can have...
That's why the Israelis want to drive them out.
Yes, but you can choose unfair peace, or you can fight for fairness.
By this analogy, she is stating that if someone drove you out of your home, then you should just accept it. One thing I would say is we are not made or built like that. We fight for the things we built and work so hard for. By agreeing to her example, what we are saying is it's okay to take what we like from whoever we want, and that's just wrong.
Of the land. I mean, you could choose whichever you want. But sometimes unfair peace is probably better.
If you were a Palestinian living in Gaza, and you were young, you would have joined Hamas in all likelihood.
I understand.
You would have rebelled.
Listen, John,
And if your family owned property that was now part of Israel, you would want that property back. You would view it as your property, right?
After decades and decades?
Yes, exactly.
Germany doesn't want territory back in Poland or in
Look,
Czech.
many Jews argue that Israel has a deed to the territory that it now
Yes, a biblical
controls.
deed, right? Which
that's the Bible.
it's a little ridiculous. I do understand that. I totally understand it, but I'm talking about like the situation we have right now. So what are we going to do with what we have right now? And sometimes things are unfair, John. It's just how it goes. Do we want this fighting to continue forever?
I'm just going to interrupt again. It's very easy for someone like me, you, or the reporters to say, well, why don't they just pack their bags and leave? Would I leave my home? Would you leave your home? To me, unfortunately, this reporter is talking more from an emotional point of view. In the political game, to make changes, you do what's best. To do what's best, you can't be driven by your own personal emotions, because if you do that, that's when mistakes start to happen.
Because this is what I'm thinking.
I want to be very clear here. The United States believed for a long time that it had a solution, and many American leaders still believe there is a solution. It's the two-state solution. In other words, divide the land, divide Greater Israel, give the Palestinians a viable state of their own. This is the two-state solution.
This is not a viable solution. You've said so yourself. This is not going to happen.
That's right. But why is it not a viable solution?
Well, probably because Israelis don't want to give them their land.
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
I recognize that.
Well, if they don't give them their land, you can then expect the Palestinians to fight back.
Okay, I understand this, and I totally understand. I understand that when you're a young person in Gaza and you've seen your family be killed by an IDF attack or what, I understand it completely. I just wonder for how long do we want to continue this conflict?
Whose way?
Well, I mean, it's not only.
It's for how long do the Palestinians want to continue to resist, and for how long do the Israelis want to continue?
Well, it's not just between Israel and the Palestinians, is it? There's obviously a global community that is involved.
The global community is largely ineffectual because of the United States. You pointed out that Steve Walt and I wrote this book. The United States basically supports Israel.
But that's why I'm saying there's other countries involved. It's not just Israel and the resistance in Gaza.
Yeah, but the country that's involved that matters is the United States, and it's joined at the hip with Israel. It does basically what Israel wants.
Well,
we wanted a two-state solution. It's just very important to understand that. Every president from Jimmy Carter forward was deeply committed to creating a two-state solution. We could not get a two-state solution because Israel had little interest, and the lobby went to great lengths to undermine the pressure that any American president put on Israel to move to a two-state solution. You ended up with an apartheid state. And when you have an apartheid state where you have, roughly an equal number of Palestinians and Israeli Jews living inside it, the dominated group is going to revolt. First Intifada, Second Intifada, October 7th. This is hardly surprising at all. And the question on the table is, can you beat the Palestinians into submission?
Professor John ends it with a wonderful question. Can you beat the Palestinians into submission? From what they've been through over the last 70 plus years and before, let's not forget that before, I don't think anyone can. We hope and pray things get better for our brothers and sisters. Until then, we will continue doing what we are doing, and that's exposing the lies and spreading the truth. Support me by liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on my next video. Peace out.